Hello everyone, welcome to the sideboard of the Cincinnati Legacy Open. I'm Glenn Jones, I'm here with Caleb Durward.
Hi all.
Caleb, you're known for playing some off-the-wall decks in Legacy. Well, everywhere actually, I'm sorry.
Every format,
I have,
off the wall, full of shenanigans.
Limited you. So, this time we've once again gone a little into the tank, and we came out with 4 Talisman of Dominance and 2 Dimir Signets.
Yeah.
Amongst 54 other cards. The rest of the deck is an artifact deck similar to some of the concepts we've seen with Baleful Strix and Tezzeret and Jace that people are playing around with. So why don't you just run us through with how you wound up playing this particular version of the deck?
The deck started as a Death Cloud deck actually with Coalition relics, and the Death Clouds weren't very good, mostly because the Ancient Tomb mana base is very good at letting you get to play a Death Cloud for a large amount, but then it also like drains your life total. So when you can actually like Death Cloud for 4 or 5, you really don't want to because you don't have much life left. But the rest of the deck was performing admirably. Like I was going turn 1 Talisman of Dominance, turn 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor against Miracles, and they were just like staring at their hand like, yup, dead. So it's been a really good shell to work with.
So one of the more interesting things about this deck is you are a Jace deck, as you said. Like you can just turn 2 a Jace, which is, I imagine, a way you get a lot of free wins. Or a Tezzeret. You're actually running 3 Jaces and 4 Tezzeret.
Yes.
So I assume that means you prefer to.
It is the better Planeswalker, especially in this deck. Yeah, like your the artifacts that you've had in play become 5/5 hasters, so you can Koth people, and then next turn you make another one, and now they've taken 15. If they've taken some damage from their fetches, they might just be dead. And then you can also plus it, so it's like a tutor engine. They both pitch to Force of Will, and when you dig with Jace, there's not many shuffle effects in the deck.
Okay, yeah.
Like plussing Tezzeret is one of the way to get rid of Jace chaff, interestingly enough. Whereas the Tezzeret always finds something awesome. You plus Tezzeret, you find a Wormcoil engine. You brainstorm with Jace, you might just hit like a few lands, because you only see 3 new cards instead of 5.
Sure. Speaking of bullets, you have a number of them. You have Engineered Explosives and Chalice of the Void,
right,
and along with Relic of Progenitus, that are all findable by your singular Trinket Mage or Tezzeret's effect himself.
Right.
Also, we have the Thopter Foundry, but no Sword of the Deck.
Right. No, Thopter Foundry is just a value card in this deck. It pitches to Force of Will, it pitches to Thirst for Knowledge. You can find it with Tezzeret, and it just turns all of the things in the deck into life and 1/1 flyers, which is awesome for a single mana. Like if they try and Swords to Plowshares your Wormcoil engine, you can just sacrifice it to Thopter Foundry and have 7 power in play. If you're going to be blocking with Solemn Simulacrum anyway, you can just sacrifice it. It's pretty good.
Do you find it playing sort of like a Lingering Souls role, in that like it kind of just gives you an ever-present threat?
Very similar, and the life gain is also vital because of the Ancient Tombs.
That makes sense. Sure.
I could see cutting it in the future, but right now I'm very happy with the slot.
Okay. How have the Ratchet Bombs been performing for you?
Ratchet Bombs are good. They blow up Lingering Souls tokens. They blow up Nimble Mongoose, Flipped Delvers. It's quite a strong card.
Do you like it against the Maverick matchup? I know they have like a lot of smaller creatures, but I feel like they aren't the big important ones.
It's very clunky in the Maverick matchup, sure, actually, because Thalia is the main card that you care about, and the sideboard is actually designed to fight Thalia. There's a number of Dread of Nights, Dark Blast, that sort of thing, because that's the only card that you care about out of them.
Okay.
Aside from maybe like a string of Wastelands. So
that makes a lot of sense. This deck has access to Wrath also in the main deck in the form of Damnation.
Damnation's excellent. Again, I was experiencing a weak Maverick matchup, and I wanted a way to win main deck, and one of those ways is just like, I have a Damnation, you lose all your things, now I'll play a Planeswalker.
So, another deck that came out during the Invitational and was really big was Goblins. It showed a lot of success. It's also been pretty big today, I think. So did you take Goblins into account in any particular way when building this deck?
Nope, not at all.
Nope, just
haven't tested against it.
We'll see. Fair enough. Are there any matchups that you're a little concerned with, just now that you've gotten a few rounds under your belt with this particular
I just played against Omniscience. I punted around. I should have, game 1, he was going crazy, but I had a Jace down, so he goes like Show and Tell, Grizzlebrand. He draws 14, and then we trade Force of Wills, because I draw one off the top because my Jace is in play, and then next turn I stick a Tezzeret. And with the Tezzeret, had I plussed it, I would have seen Baleful Strix, and then he couldn't have won. But at this point, he's at 6 life because he's drawn 14 cards, and I got greedy with the Tezzeret and I hit him for 5 down to 1 life, so that I could kill him next turn. But it was just bad because he went Show and Tell, Omniscience, Emrakul, kill you, when I could have had a Baleful Strix in play, which stops Emrakul very cold in its tracks.
Very cold. Baleful Strix has been a pretty sweet card, I think, in Legacy. A lot of players are trying to make it work. AJ
Very.
Sacker and Sam Black have been coming up with a number of different brews.
Right.
So you've obviously played with it a fair bit yourself. Do you think it just
Quite a
has a
bit.
home in the format?
Yes, Baleful Strix is an excellent card. It's awkward that it only came out in the special set because it's, even though it has an uncommon symbol on it, it's just as rare as any of the other ones.
Sure.
Like it'll probably see scavenging ooze prices eventually. So pick them up now while they're like $10 because that's a steal. The card is wonderful.
All right, well, that's a hot trader's tip and a nice new brew from Caleb Durward. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to more Legacy.